I'm Pete Friedman at the Friedmann Law Firm. Do you guys just want to tell us how long you've been practicing law and when your wedding date is?
Sure, I can start.
Go ahead.
We've been practicing since 2012, so we took the July bar in 2012, got licensed that November. So we have been in practice together since then, and our wedding date is next September 7th, so September 7th, 2019.
Wonderful. So how did you two meet? In law school then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we met in law school. We were the same class or same years in a lot of the same classes, and we had some mutual friends that were talking one day after class and talking about going out and grabbing a drink, and I think I kind of chimed in because I wanted to hang out with them. So then Rachel, I don't know if we got taught. We're both from Cleveland originally, so I think that we might have had that common ground that struck up conversation, and we were talking about that, and then they invited me out to the bar or something after class, and that's how we met first year, and then we were really good friends throughout the rest of law school because we were both actually in relationships at the time. And then as soon as my relationship broke off with my former girlfriend, Rachel decided to end her relationship at the same time, and then we started.
That is not true. It had already ended. It was just very fortuitous timing.
It's all fate, right?
Yeah. Well, then we started. We knew each other so well at that point. So then we started dating. We moved in together. I think like 3 months later. We started the business together. Another 3 months later.
It was,
and
everything happened really fast. But it didn't seem fast because we were so close already at that point, so.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things, like, people ask us all the time, like, I can't believe you work with your, before it was boyfriend, now it's fiance, and I think it's just one of those things where if you work well together, it just works, and I could definitely see how for some people it wouldn't. But for us, it does. Like, we keep it very chill, we're very autonomous of each other. We don't like drive to work together or anything. It's like we work at two separate businesses and we just see each other here sometimes. So it's nice. I think that keeps it, keeps it exciting, and we're not spending so much time together. So
yeah, so that's how we met.
Yeah.
So how did you then decide, how did you make that leap to decide to start a practice together?
Well, I'll tell it from my perspective because it was really Pete's idea. So Pete is a rugby player, like very competitive rugby player, and he had a mentor who is a really prominent attorney here in Columbus, very nice guy, and he had said to Pete, I want you to stay in Columbus and play rugby, and if you do and you'd be interested in starting your own firm, I could help you do that. So I didn't know about that conversation, and then Pete approached me and he said, hey, would you want to start your own firm? I said, I don't know, I never really thought about it, but then I said, sure. Because, I just sort of thought like the job market was not great then. And we really didn't have anything to lose, and having my own business always intrigued me. So that was it from my perspective. I don't know if you want to give like a bit of info about why he asked you.
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, the same reason. I was actually looking to move back to Cleveland at the time after I was I was considering going back to Cleveland at the time after finishing law school and completing the bar exam, because that's where I'm from. My whole family's still in Cleveland, and I was considering just going back there because I have more connections through my family and friends and growing up there. And then my rugby coach at the time linked me up with the person that ultimately helped us get started, and he was great in helping us get started. He was kind of toward the end of his career, and he had office space out west in Mechanicsburg, and he gave us 6 months free rent, fully furnished, introduced us to attorneys and judges in the area. I mean, it was phenomenal.
Awesome.
And just the relationship really cool. with him alone was worth, trying to do our own thing. But the fact that he really put us in a position to hit the ground running helped so much.
Mm-hmm. I hope you're glad you stayed in Columbus too.
Yeah, I am.
Oh my gosh.
I
love Columbus.
I don't think I'll ever leave now.
No.
That's good.
I was kind of a driving force behind that too. I'm from Cleveland too, and I absolutely love it here. Not that I don't love Cleveland, but I think Columbus is just such a cool, dynamic city. So I was definitely pushing for that. So I'm happy that we stayed.
Awesome. So how have you two maintained a healthy work-life balance together then, since you work together and, you're both attorneys as well?
Yeah.
So how do you kind of just make time for yourself and for each other?
In the beginning, I think it was hard. It's something that we sort of had to figure out because we were like driving to work together in the beginning, and it just became, I think we both kind of sensed that was too much, like that we needed that autonomy and we needed to be independent of each other. So ever since we started doing that, it has worked so well. But I mean, it's hard because we are really busy, and sometimes we'll be at home hanging out and like having dinner, but we also have to work on stuff for work. So we have our laptops out and, you know, we're doing stuff. And I think it just takes effort really to say, okay, we're going to go home, we're not going to work past 8 o'clock, and, you know, on Friday night we're going to go and do X, Y, Z. Like, we just really plan it out and make an effort to do it, and that's fine.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that in the beginning we were driving together and we were doing a lot together because we were just starting. We were starting as a general practice firm. We didn't have a focus area, and so we really didn't know what we were doing at that time. And then, and so we were just kind of struggling through it together. And as we became more established and we started focusing on employment law and only doing employment law, we were marketing ourselves better to that particular area. And we started bringing in more cases on our own.
Yeah.
And we started having our own separate cases. We have separate schedules now, separate cases. Sometimes I don't even know, you know, we'll bounce ideas off each other, but I won't even know what cases she has.
Yeah.
Until it gets to the point
true.
where we need to get involved, you know, where we need more than one person taking the lead on a case. And so I think just having that separate identity for each other is very helpful too. And I've always been the type, not because I'm trying to be overly professional, but I'd like to keep when we're at work, I'd like to keep our relationship separate.
Yeah,
and
he definitely does do that.
And I think that
I hate it.
I like it because I think it just helps us focus more on our relationship together than when we're outside of work.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I like go into his office. I'm like, hey, what about this? Or I'll like try to give him a hug. He's like, no. He's like, get out of my office. I'm like, I'm fine, jeez. But it's, you know, it's like a joke between the two of us now. But I mean, it's true. I think it's funny, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's important for any relationship to, you know, maintain your own identity. Make sure you still have your own time to yourself and still hang out with your own friends. And so I think that in the beginning, I could see where working together, living together, and always being together, that could kind of muddy the waters there, because then you're not really having your own identity. And so I wanted to make sure that we maintain that, because I've seen people do that where they lose their identity when they get stuck in a relationship, and I didn't want that to happen to either of us.
Yeah.
So what would you say, you might have already outlined them, but what would you guys just say are the biggest challenges then, and then the biggest benefits of working with your, you know, now fiance?
I think one of them, honestly, is, you know, we're obviously so lucky to be self-employed. I love that about what we do, and I think running a business is amazing, but it's also a double-edged sword because, you know, we love to do so many different things. Like, we love to travel, we love to do all these things together. So it's hard when we go somewhere, we can't ever be completely unplugged. We just can't. And, you know, I don't say that because I'm ungrateful for what we have and what we do. I love it. So I'm happy to be, you know, continuing to communicate with my clients and working on our cases, but it's tough because we both have to be semi-plugged in no matter what. So we don't ever really get a chance to totally disconnect and unwind. But, you know, again, I think that's probably the worst thing. So if that's the worst thing you can say about what you do, I think that's pretty great. I don't know. What do you think?
Can you just repeat the question?
What would you say are the biggest challenges and benefits of working with your significant other, fiance in this case?
Yeah, so...
oh, God, I don't know what this is going to be.
All benefits.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess the only challenge is, you know, I might be a little more critical of her, which I think is... which is, you know, I don't, it's not anything to do with her, but because I expect so much from her. And so, you know, I feel like I kind of pick her apart sometimes, but I try to be nice about it.
You've gotten a lot better about it.
Yeah.
A lot better. Yeah, you used to do that a lot. You don't really do it that much anymore, though.
So I'd say that would be a challenge, just because it's not, you know, because we still have, you know, I have to worry about how she feels about me after the work day is over. So
Please
it's
be
not,
nice.
not just the employment relationship where you can be like, hey, you really screwed this up. What the hell were you doing here?
Yeah.
You have to be more diplomatic
true.
about it.
I will say though, if he ever has like something to say to me, he's usually right, which is super annoying.
And I guess that would be
Very annoying.
on the flip side is that, as an employment attorney, I always pick apart how other people, employers treat their employees. And so I don't really have to worry about that as much with Rachel because I know.
I hope not.
No, I mean, it's just like I know I don't have to worry about, treading lightly with her, and same with me. She can tell me exactly how she feels, but
Yeah, that's true.
we can't treat an employee the same way. We can't be as direct. So we may have to be able try to deliver that type of information a little more lightly than we would
No, you're
with
right.
each other.
That's true.
So I think that would be one of the challenges. I think there's so many benefits to it. We know where our money's going, which is great. We get to spend our money together when great things happen. We get to celebrate together, which
That is the best. It's the best feeling.
yeah.
Like if something good happens on a case that we've worked so hard on, it's it's so cool because we can share in that together, and it's equally as gratifying for both of us. Whereas if you've got your significant other doesn't do what you do, I just don't think there's a way to really understand sometimes how stressful litigation is and how amazing it is when you win. So that is really cool. Yeah, we've had some awesome moments where we've just, worked our butts off on something and then it turns out well, and it's the best feeling ever.
And on the flip side, we can relate when you're dealing with a, tough opposing counsel or you have a, a difficult case or something's going wrong and you just want to vent about it. We can relate to each other. And so I think that's nice because it's not just, oh, you're coming home and you're complaining about work. You truly understand what the other person's going through.
Yeah.
And definitely another benefit is, like you touched on, we both love to travel and being able to do that, having the freedom of doing that. We're not working for somebody else. And so we don't have to worry about vacation time and getting that type of approval or worrying about ever getting fired or anything like that. So I think that
Welcome to Columbus, right?
that's definitely one of the best parts about it is that we can enjoy the money that we earn together when we travel.
So you might have just answered my question too, but you could, if there's a different answer, what would you both say is the most rewarding part of your relationship thus far?
One thing that I think Pete and I do really well, and one thing that we both value a lot is really like living our lives to the absolute fullest. Like we make an effort to constantly be doing things. We try new things together. Like traveling is obviously something that we love to do, and just exploring new places together. Like you just learn so much about a person when you go on a trip with them. Like for instance, Pete and I go places, and I know that he's very crabby when we're at the airport. He does not love to be in transit. Doesn't like to be like on a train or anything. So he's very grouchy, and I just know to expect that. And I'm just go with the flow. I'm very chill. I'm like, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna get there. It's not a big deal. He's very upset about that kind of stuff. So it's funny. But yeah, I think that's one of the best parts of our relationship is that we constantly try new things together, and we really make an effort to, always be doing things. I mean, the world is so amazing, and we're so lucky to have the flexibility to do what we want to do together. It's awesome. So I would say that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're lucky and we appreciate, the position we're in, but we've also created that situation. We put ourselves in that position. We worked hard to get to that position. So I think that, it's not something that was just handed to us. We earned that and we're very grateful for that. But I would think another rewarding thing is that, and not to sound cheesy, but to push each other to grow and become become better people.
Yeah.
I think that over the years since we've started, I've seen Rachel become a great attorney and help develop our business.
Nice. Guys.
Please correct me out.
But I've seen her really build up our business, and I know you didn't really have she didn't have much experience in small business owning or anything like that, whereas I came from a family where I did have more of that experience. But I've seen how much she's learned and how much she's brought to the table without having that type of background, and that's very rewarding, I think.
That's so nice. Wow. I'm so glad we did this, guys.
No, see? It's a good thing. It's like therapy.
I love it.
I do feel like it's there.
It is a little bit. So this is a fun one, and it's the last question.
Okay.
Do you two have any advice for either other couples who are both attorneys or other couples who are about to be engaged in planning a wedding?
Oh, I mean, I think our wedding planning has been super stress-free. It has been like really fun for us. We're doing a destination wedding, and part of the reason for that is
Oh, where is it?
Napa.
Wow, that's
So
beautiful.
yeah, I mean, I do not want to be. First of all, I've been in like 20 weddings, probably. I've been in so many weddings. I'm the last of my friends to get married, so I have so much experience in weddings. And I just did not want to be in the trenches planning things. I don't want to do that, which is a real departure from my personality because I'm super type A and I love to be in control of stuff like that. But I just did not want that. I said, we hired a wedding planner and I said to her, this is my vision. As long as it's something like this, that is fine. And I'm happy with that. So I don't know. I think just if you're planning your wedding, just relax, have fun with it. No one cares about the little details as much as you do. So if something gets messed up, it's fine. I think that helps with like the stress level. I don't know. Yeah, our wedding planning's been really cool, so I have no complaints. I guess I'd say for people who are like working together, or do you mean just like lawyers that are okay? Oh God, I don't know. I don't know. I think you got to know whether your personalities would be a good fit for that. Because we have friends that say to us all the time, like, I could never work with my husband, I would kill him. And I don't ever feel like that about Pete. He doesn't really annoy me, ever. So I think you got to know whether you would be a good fit for that or not. And just be patient and be nice and resist the urge to be critical and snippy if something goes wrong. Which I guess is like a good tip for marriage too, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I would just, as far as wedding planning, I would say hire a wedding planner. That's probably
Best bet out there.
That's been I think
It's been
that
awesome.
our wedding planner is phenomenal, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're getting married in Napa Valley and we're not there, so it would be insane for us to try to organize all that without somebody on the ground there.
Yeah.
So
Great.
it's really helpful for that, obviously, and it was worth the cost. And as far as advice to anyone who, but what is it? Just working together in a relationship?
That works for me.
Okay.
I was gonna say it's pretty open to interpretation.
Yeah, I guess I would just say, keep your separation, not separation, but like, make sure you still have your schedule, make sure you still do your stuff with your friends, because when you're working together and you're in a relationship together, it's easy to just like kind of blend those lines. So I think that we're both really good about that. And I'll ask Rachel, what are you doing today? And she'll tell me, and it's just kind of like something completely different than what I'm doing. And
But then he still doesn't remember, and I'll be like, what are you doing again?
Well,
so
it's a guy thing,
just
though.
give me extra.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
She's like, it's on my calendar. I'm like, but it's nice because we still have that freedom where I don't always feel like I'm working with her, like that we work together. Because I have my cases and I have my schedule, and so I think that level of separation is great. And I would definitely agree that know whether you can work with, whether your personalities can mesh like that, even in an employment setting, because there's still times where we do see each other, in the office. We're in the same office. Our offices are across from each other, so we still do see each other during the workday. And if that's something where that just wouldn't work out for you, it's good to know that ahead of time.